You said.
All right, Rick Hemmelheinz, member here.
Michael Chisholm, chair.
Elizabeth Shaw, alternate here. Oh, I skipped you now.
Aidan is our guest. You can do. Oh, actually, sorry. I'm sorry. We wait. Mel England. Mel England, staff liaison here.
Pat Fitzgerald, member present.
Lana Garcia, alternate member here. Sorry.
Beautiful.
Shelley.
Logan Dunning, member present.
Shelley Oren, member present.
The Duncan, member present.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Let's refer to the minutes of last month. Any thoughts, questions, or corrections to the minutes? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Rick,
Second.
a second. Logan seconded.
Mm-hmm.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Okay, the ayes have it. Thank you, everybody. We have to welcome our guest, Aidan Lawton. Mel, you want to give an introduction or a little background?
Yes, absolutely. So I know this is a long time coming because I said that we were doing this program for a while. We finally have our person who could not be a better fit. Aidan Lawton is our new Green Business Program Coordinator. He's going to be overseeing and implementing our Sustainable Business Partnership Program. And this is a collaboration between the cities of Englewood and the cities of Sheridan. His position is funded through the plastic bag fee funds. So if you went to the grocery store and you forgot your reusable bags and had to pay the 10 cents, thank you. You helped fund Aidan. Aidan's going to go into like a...
Sorry.
No, you're good. And then you're gonna hear.
And I jumped ahead on the agenda, so we'll have to
And then you
move around a bit. Yeah.
How do you mute your computer? Am I supposed to be honest? Oh, here we go.
Okay, I think, perfect. He's going to get into a full background on him, so I won't spoil any of that for you. But yeah, do you want to say that?
Hello, everybody. It's nice to be here. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
And I have to apologize, I jumped ahead on the agenda, so we have to jump back up and do a little business. We'll
We'll
give
be
you
right
the
back.
show, we'll give you right back.
Okay.
But thank you for coming, we're really looking forward to
Thank you for
hearing
having
what
me.
you have to present. And so again, my apologies. Let's jump back up, upcoming tasks and events. We have some swearing in of some new members and introductions to do.
Did you approve the minutes for last time?
Yeah.
We approved,
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
we're okay.
Okay, perfect. So swearing in, yes, that's me. All right, so we have the swearing in of our new alternate member, Lana, right, Lana?
Yes.
Lana, and then we have Elizabeth going from alternate to full member, and then we have Rick re-swearing in because he's doing another term. So we have, and I'm giving you 2 copies. One comes back to me, one you can save for your records, frame it, throw it in the recycling bin, whatever you like. Second copy is all yours. You just want to sign on this one right here when you're done. Oh, you have a pen, perfect, so sign right here after. Rick, I'm gonna steal yours so I can follow along. Oh, you have a pen too. So I'm gonna read and then out loud, you just follow after with what I say, and when you're done, you just sign it. So you say, I, your name,
Rick Hemmelheinz.
Elizabeth Shaw.
Lana Garcia.
do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
Do we all say it?
And you all say it, yep.
No.
Do solemnly swear to
affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
The Constitution of the State of Colorado,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
and the Charter and ordinances of the City of Englewood.
and the Charter and ordinances of the City of Englewood.
And that I will, to the best of my ability, faithfully perform the duties of office as a member of the Sustainability Commission during my continuance therein.
and
that I will,
to the best of
to my
my abilities, faithfully perform the duties of office as a member of the Sustainability Commission during my continuance therein.
Fabulous. Now
Thank
it's
you.
official. And then, yeah, when you're done, I'll take the second. And then I also thought it would be good, especially since Lana is new, if people want to go around and just give a little introduction of themselves and maybe how long they've been in Englewood, what district they're in, whatever you feel like sharing, I think would be helpful. Mike, do you want to start as fearless leader?
I'm sorry, I was zoning out.
Oh, you're good. We're just doing introductions for Lana. So like your name,
Oh,
maybe
I
what
can do
neighbor.
that.
Oh, Christine, what neighborhood you're in.
I'm sorry,
And
Lawton.
how long you've been an Englewood resident.
I'm Michael Chisholm. I've been a resident of Englewood for 9 years. And I go back, this group, back when we were Keep Englewood Beautiful. And we evolved into the Sustainability Commission. So I've been involved in this group, I don't know, six years or so at least. And it's a good group. Welcome. Appreciate you coming on board.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rick Emmelheins, in Englewood about the same amount of time Mike has, 10 years, by the way, Mike.
Teddy.
And got involved with the city based upon some issues we were having around the Bellevue Park. And that the city was very, very helpful, capable of doing that. I took the first Elevate class that Englewood offered. And if you haven't taken an Elevate class, it is a terrific experience. It's a free class and you learn all about all aspects of the city. Then from there, got onto this committee, got onto SEAC, have been involved in some of the issues in the city in the last couple of years. Actually took a shot at running for council and didn't get it, but that's okay. And certainly love the city and just want to do the best we can for it and be the good citizen representatives as we are of the city.
Thanks, Rick. Christine.
Hi, everyone. I'm Christine Brinker. I am particularly interested in energy and climate. I work in energy efficiency during the day. I love being a part of this group and seeing all the action that Englewood is taking in a positive direction.
Good.
Pat Fitzgerald, relative newbie. I've been here in Englewood for about 1.5 years and on this board for about a year. Similar to you, my career is energy efficiency and I've been very enthusiastic about sustainability and being involved in local governments.
I'm Elizabeth Shaw. I've lived here in England for like 20 years and I did not think about it till right then. Like that is a really long time. I think I had an apartment right down the street at the very beginning. So my husband and I, we both bought our first houses here and we obviously still live here and we're raising our boys here. So I got involved kind of, wanting to give back like to the community that is helping to bring my little boys up into the world. So it was really important to me.
Great. Somebody out in Cyberland want to speak up?
Logan.
I was gonna say,
Come on.
Logan's never wrong.
Logan's in the kitchen.
Yeah. Maybe, oh, there's Tracy.
Hey. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Sorry, and it's probably going to be loud. I'm sitting in Buena Vista on a roadway, so it's quite loud. I'm Tracy Sabina, and I've lived in Englewood for 15 years. And during my transition of careers, I found I had time to kind of dive into my community, and this came up on my radar, and I'm very passionate about anything sustainability. So between loving where I live and wanting to do more about sustainability, this was the perfect match. So welcome to our newbies.
Tiana. Let's see, Shelley on the line?
Yeah, hi, I'm Shelly. I am a bit of a newer resident. I've been in Englewood for like a year and a half, and I've been on the commission for a year, I think. And yeah, I am super passionate about the environment and sustainability, which is why I wanted to get involved. So yeah, welcome to the new folks.
Thank you, thank you. Let's see, who's left? Is Logan back yet?
So Logan said that he has to reconnect his internet and he'll be
Oh,
right back.
okay.
But we have Tiana on the line.
So Tracy spoke, Patrick, Shelley spoke, who's left?
So
Tiana spoke.
Tiana.
Tiana? She spoke, didn't she?
No, not yet.
Not yet. Can you hear us, Tiana? Maybe she's lost connection too.
Hey, well, Lana, if you want to introduce yourself and maybe whatever you're from, how long you've been here for, and whatever else you'd like to share.
Sure. I'm Lana. I'm really happy to be here and meet all of you. I've actually lived in Inglewood for 9 years now, too. I'm a PhD student in environmental studies at Boulder. I'm finally past the first few years of my program, so I have some extra time. And my focus is on social sustainability and green space. So I finally feel like I can really contribute to the community in a meaningful way.
Great.
Let's go Buffs.
Easy night. Ram.
My sister's Ram. I love me some Rams too.
You bring a lot to the table, appreciate it. And if anybody, in the interest of time, might want to move on. We're a pretty friendly group, so through time, be bold, don't be shy, introduce yourself or ask what somebody's name is. We'll all get along around here. So it's a good group. We're evolving. We're still trying to define our role, and there's some very unclear boundaries, permeable membranes. We sort of have to push and test and see, are we okay to make this recommendation? But City Council's been very supportive, and they've encouraged us to keep testing the boundaries and speak up and be assertive. So that's gratifying. And I think we're having some influence, which is the main idea. So.
And Lana, just to be helpful, just because the mayor isn't here currently, Mayor Sierra is our council liaison, so he'll at times be here. And then I'm your staff liaison, so I'm the sustainability program manager. So a lot of the stuff that you guys talk about, you have a channel into the city, so it's not just residents talking to residents. It's really different ladders of command.
Okay. So that being said, and like I said, the other folks will connect with you one way or the other. I'd like to turn it over to Aidan and learn something.
So you guys,
we're all waiting.
You guys do have your standing community projects updates.
Oh, I'm
if
sorry.
you want.
I always skip that.
Lana, for background for you, the commission.
I don't mean to do that, but I do.
It sneaks in there.
Thanks,
So this
Belle.
was a commission request to have this as a standing line item for each meeting. Every resident here, I feel like, is so engaged in so many things. So this can be a place where you can bring that up. And then I know we also have a subcommittee for the commission that does a lot of like community outreach and marketing and things. So this is where they kind of bring their information too. So sometimes there's nothing to add here, but this is just a placeholder for it.
Thanks, Mel. Mel keeps me on target. Okay.
Can I say something?
You can say something.
Because it's for members?
Yeah.
Okay. If you have been following the bond situation at all, things are moving forward. City did a study session 2 weeks ago, I believe Monday, and decided, I believe, that the overall request for the bond will be a $43 million bond. And within that, the issues surrounding native plants is still there. It's still a part of it. There was quite a bit of discussion, both pro and con, about native plants. And I attended a town hall meeting subsequent to that, and that was where discussions then kind of kicked up a little bit for native plants and their influence and how they should be addressed in the different parks and things like that. I will give kudos to this gentleman right next door to me because he spoke up at the request of Council Member Russell to address some incorrect information that was out there about Depot Park and set the record straight very clearly and actually got a round of applause for it because it was so well presented. So I want to give kudos to Mike for that.
Thanks.
There is one big change, and I'm not sure if it's something that will happen that I see will be affecting our impact on this, but rather than putting a splash pad in one of the parks, they are now considering putting a full pool into one of the parks, public municipal pool. So, and apparently council has tentatively given the okay for that to be included in the bond now, in addition to all of the other park-related things that are going to be part of that. So I just thought I'd update.
So it's been pared down from 50 to 43?
To 43.
Wow.
How'd they pare it down?
I think part of some of the, I won't call it foo-foo stuff, but it's sort of some of the things that they wanted to do, which were not maintenance related, but were embellishments or enhancements to some of the parks were kind of pared back for the belief that we didn't need all of this stuff. There is growing feeling among a couple of the council members that this should be a maintenance only bond. In other words, stay away from all the other things, just make sure the pipes are working on the sprinkler systems and that kind of thing. So there's still kind of a push in that direction. So you feel more discussion about that, I think, before this thing gels into an actual proposal. Council has not given their final on it yet. So they do have some time for both public input on things. And a couple of us spoke up at a council meeting at pretty much Mayor Sierra's request to speak to the issues associated with native grasses and to encourage and that be an important part of this. And I think that's where this committee stood, as I recall. And so I would encourage you also to speak at the next council meeting and put in your 2 cents on that also.
Thank you.
I like making this a learning opportunity too for our new members. So you can always absolutely go speak at city council, but you just have to make sure that you're representing you and your own individual thoughts. You can't say like, I'm on the sustainability commission. We talked about this and this is what we think. So always you can go to city council, but there has to be that separation.
You can say you're on the sustainability committee, which is actually credit, but you have to speak for yourself.
Right. Correct.
Thank you. That's a good update because I left off halfway through where you were bringing this up to speed. So just to chime in briefly, it's always fascinating how resistance to change, strongest force in the universe, just brings out emotions in people, and many times it's damn the facts. And as Rick said, there's some misinformation floating around about Depot Park and pollinator gardens and stuff that I hope we dispelled. But our job is to be vigilant, and it would be wonderful at any time for any of you to go to a study session, go to city council, because we know a little bit more than the average Joe on the street. We do hear about things like we're learning tonight. So that's good stuff. Thanks, Rick.
Can I ask a couple follow-up questions on that topic? One bigger question and a couple nitty gritty. The bigger one, I tuned into the study session and the council meeting before that, and I heard general support from the public and the council for the bond in general. I didn't hear a lot of enthusiasm for the native plants part, which seems to be the biggest sustainability component in it. I guess there's water conservation, that had good support, sounds good. What's your take on that? And then to follow up the town meeting, who sponsored that and what was the feel of it? And was that one council member that sponsored the town hall?
Yeah, let me address your first question. Yeah, I won't say that, 7 people stood up and said, yeah, we want to do native grasses and, pollinator, et cetera. They're hearing from the community that they're fearful that this is going to take green play area away. That's what the ear to the ground from the council is. That's part of the reason I spoke. They also realized that every single area that is being considered post-bond will have a large amount of community input. So their response to that is that if you get a group of people to go to a meeting where they're going to be affecting the park nearby you, and they're talking about putting in an X amount of land that be converted over to native, that you have the opportunity to state your opinion about that. And they will listen, and they will make associated changes to that area because this is your local park. Mike made a good point about the fact that there are a lot of parks in the area that don't have play areas that are constantly used for play purposes, which are already beds of weeds. They're already areas where invasive things are entering, and the idea of being able to manage those a little bit better, I think is something which was a positive for native plants, is that they would actually be tended in a sense to make sure that they didn't become beds of weeds. The concern was how much maintenance would that take to do that, and that's an education piece, right, Mike? I mean, it's something you have to educate people on, is how much or how little these native areas need in order to be maintained well. So I think that's an important issue. There's still a lot of time to be able to talk about this. So again, education to the council, which via email or via public statement, to your neighbors, those kinds of things, very, very important. Regarding the town meeting, this was conducted by Member Russell, was attended by Member Wright, and also by Member Pratt. And Member Russell ran the meeting. She brought up a number of things there that have been happening, such as some of the possibility of a ballot issue, a citizen initiative issue for a mayor. I don't know if you heard much about that, but so she was giving a platform for that. She was giving a platform for the bond so people could speak to the bond also. And it was, I would say it was a real town hall meeting.
Yeah, it was a good meeting because there was a divergence of opinion, and it was healthy. Sometimes those meetings can have such a tilt in one direction. Right. And I felt good that there was a counterbalance. And just to lean in on something that Rick said, I said, and I believe strongly, that the city has to shift gears a little bit. The Depot Park right now depends 100% on volunteers weeding and cleaning and raking. And the volunteers who do it do a great job, but you need a little bit more. And I'm going to be talking to parks whenever I can, which is they need to dedicate, and I using Depot Park, I'm saying 1 person day per month to go over there, rake, trim. That's not a lot of work. But right now, if you walk through the pollinator, I was over there today, it's a little rough around the edges. And it was 100 degrees today, and I didn't feel like trimming around the edges. So I think there needs to be a combination of robust volunteer support, but at least 1 person on the staff whose job it is to monitor these. If there's other gardens as well, you got to pay attention to them. You just can't say they're beautiful in the spring and then ignore them for the rest of the summer. So that's one thing I'm going to keep trying to repeat. Go ahead.
That was one of my more specific questions. Yeah, it does seem to be entirely volunteer run. Have you heard, or could we ask the Parks Department what their plan is for dedicating their own staff? Are they expecting it to be volunteer maintained in perpetuity? Or do they have a plan to take over the maintenance?
Yeah, so I reached out to Parks on this because of a conversation I had with Mike. And they said that they're doing what they can, but they need as much help as possible. So like the volunteer days are super helpful, but they said they are doing some maintenance over there.
And then the issues, you said you helped correct the record at the town hall. Was that about the noxious weeds there? The comment, it was like it's overrun with cheatgrass and thistles.
Right.
So is that not true? And
it's not true. There's a section on the west side of the pollinator garden, And Cara explained this to me when we were volunteer weeding last fall. CSU or somebody planted seeds in there. So it's like a second cousin to the pollinator garden. It's kind of cool because it's got lots of native grasses that came up from seed, which is not always easy to do, but it's not tended. And if you want to see weeds, that's the section you go to because there are weeds in there. It's not tended by, it's kind of no man's land. And just a good example of communication and misunderstanding. But it's not overrun with noxious weeds, but it's less tidy than the pollinator garden itself. So I asked Mel, maybe do a little research on who owns that plot and who's responsible for it. I don't know if Parks is even responsible for it. It could be private property.
I'm assuming that is the private property of the people that own the building.
Okay.
But that's
So-
totally an assumption, but.
Yeah, so it's a good question, but it's not fair to label the pollinator garden with that section of no man's land.
It might be nice if someone could correct the record in a public comment to city council, since a lot of people tune into that and maybe didn't attend the town hall
Right.
and might still have the message that it's overrun with noxious weeds, thinking it's the pollinator garden part.
Maybe.
Can I ask one more question about the bond part? I saw that one of the ideas that they nixed because they didn't have council support was nature parks. And I was wondering if any of you know what those were gonna be. Looked like they got maybe 2 votes out of the 7, so not enough to move it into the bond going forward.
I don't honestly remember. I remember that it was nixed, but I don't recall the discussion about what that was. There was a meeting ahead of that, which was the explanatory meeting, which is where the discussions began, the first study session. I did not watch that, so I don't know what that.
I can follow the parks and let you know.
That'd be great.
There's a meeting on the 11th. Rick's going, I'm going, and a few other people. And that's going to be a citizens committee that I think A is going to learn more details about what's in there. Hopefully we'll have some influence on the final product and then also to defend and promote it, this is a good thing. And people in the community really ought to get behind it. So it's happening as we speak, I guess is the way of putting it.
Is there a possibility, Mike, that we could get somebody from the city to kind of answer the question? So you've got some really good questions.
Yeah.
That perhaps they could come at the next meeting or something and actually kind of lay out some of those detailed questions, so that, because I think those are the kinds of questions, in a sense, they need to be challenged on a little bit, but also just give some clarification. If they would like the support of groups within the city like ourselves, then I think they need to bring us up to speed a little bit.
Does everybody agree? Go
I
ahead.
thought of one more question. One of the council members made a comment like, if something happens on the ballot, then this that we're doing in city council won't even go to the ballot. Do you know what that was about? Like they can only have a certain number of things?
I don't know.
I honestly don't recall.
I can also ask Parks that question.
They said like all this discussion we're doing about what could go in and out might be a total moot point depending on what happens with the citizen ballot initiatives.
Oh, well, maybe it doesn't even.
Good.
Oh, I was probably off. I was gonna say maybe it doesn't matter. Like you don't even, now go ahead.
It could be. I don't know, because the citizen ballot initiatives, there's 2 of them. One is for the mayor and the other is to limit, to be able to restructure how to fill a vacancy on council. So
And it didn't seem to be about the content of them. It seemed to be about like the number or how things get to the ballot or something like that.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's going on the ballot no matter what, right?
the bond,
Yeah,
only if council approves it.
maybe it has, I was thinking it was like, had to do with after, like, well, it doesn't really matter, like, we're saying, if after the bond does get approved, if there are several town halls and things like that to discuss, what happened with your local neighborhood park,
Right.
then it doesn't necessarily matter the discussion prior as far as like very specific details when it's going to change in the end.
Okay.
That would be that was what my guess was, but.
If you hear otherwise, Mel, let us know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can we request somebody to come and speak?
Yeah.
Are you up for that?
Mel, does the group think that's a good idea?
Yeah.
Get the lowdown from somebody from the department or somebody, and like I said, I'll see Aidan tomorrow night or the night after. I can ask him that question too. Because surely, those are great questions and they really need to be answered promptly. So maybe, Mel, you can guide our hand on that.
Yeah, I can see if Adrian or Brad would come.
Good. Very good. All right. Could we shift gears? I keep teasing you. You're next. You're next.
Are you sure that's fine?
Is this period for being hired already up?
Insurance done, plastic bag fee money is over. Aidan,
All right,
thank you so
guys.
much.
Take it away and don't stop talking.
Okay, well, I guess I'll get my presentation out.
Okay, great.
So. Sweet. Well, first of all, thank you guys for having me here tonight. And thank you, Mel, for inviting me along and for the opportunity to be the Green Business Program Coordinator for the City of Englewood and Sheridan. I think it's a fantastic opportunity, and hopefully today you can get to know me a little bit better, have a chance to ask me some questions, and get to know what the point of the program is as well, and how it can help our community here in Englewood and Sheridan. So first of all, a little bit about myself. As you can tell, I talk a little bit funny. I'm not from around here. I'm from England originally, a town called Colchester, and its big claim to fame was the Roman capital of Britain. So our downtown actually has a castle in it, and then the town's built around the castle. And we have a little wall that goes around the castle from the Roman Empire when they ruled. So it's a pretty cool place if you ever get the chance to go to England. There's a little bit of history there, and especially if you're into kind of Romans and archaeology and that kind of thing. My favorite team is Manchester United. So growing up, I used to go with my dad to watch the game together, and lots of fun memories looking back on that. And unfortunately, it's too far away for me to go to watch them as frequently as I did, so I just have to make do with watching them online and hope for a better season. If anybody is a soccer fan here, they understand the 10 years of pain we've had. So yeah. My favorite food is spaghetti carbonara. I'm kind of gluttonous when it comes to that. I mean, I eat for about 6 people when I see that come along. I don't even order it in a restaurant anymore because it's not enough. I need more of that stuff. So I love it. I enjoy hiking, which is great to be in Colorado because there's so much opportunity there, as well as kayaking. I also enjoy swimming and soccer, of course, being British. And I'm on a volleyball team this summer, which is kind of something new. And somehow we've fallen to first place in our volleyball league. Which is, yeah, I don't know how we're here.
Last time you told me you were third.
We were third. Now we're joint first, which is kind of crazy because I can't even hit the ball properly. I kind of just go like this, and it works. So yeah, I mean that's all good stuff. I figured to get to know me a little bit more, we could play a little game of 2 truths and a lie. If anybody's unfamiliar, I basically have 3 statements up here, and one of them is a lie. And maybe we have a moment to go around the room if anyone wants to be brave and kind of point out which one they think I'm lying about. I'll read them out so you can see the tone of my voice if anybody's good at that. But first of all, I've met the Queen. It was really a great opportunity to meet her and experience, that leadership in front of me and that presence of someone being, the leader of the country for so long. Secondly, I've been to 21 states in the United States, so almost halfway to collecting them all, right? And third, I've spent some time conserving sea turtles. They're actually endangered in the Mediterranean thanks to oil and gas exploration. So having that kind of opportunity there to protect them and get the education out about how to conserve them was awesome. So if anybody wants to be brave, go right ahead and call me out on one of them.
I don't think you've been to 21 states.
No?
That's my vote.
I was gonna guess that too.
Yeah, 21?
Yeah, I'd go with that.
So we're incorrect.
You think it's the queen because it's such an outrageous statement.
I've never met her, and I never will. She did pass away, so yeah, I never met her. But obviously, I've been to her house. You know, I mean, you can go there and look at it. But she wasn't there, and you can tell if she is there. Or I guess the king is there because they have the flag flying if they're in, and they will take it down if they're not. So it's kind of like
I'd like to congratulate you on being a convincing liar, and that's got me worried.
It's the accent.
Yeah, I think so, right? I think it's the accent.
He's a good duper.
I fooled you all.
I cannot believe you've been to 21 states. I don't think I've been to 21 states.
Well, I guess I've been kind of lucky. I mean, a lot of road tripping, kind of, you can knock off a lot of them, especially on the East Coast in one easy
Well,
day.
yeah, the East Coast. I mean,
You know.
here it's going to take you 8 hours just to cross the border.
Exactly, right? But yeah, almost halfway, so.
Godspeed.
Right. So a little bit about me. I've just joined the City of Englewood and Sheridan as the Green Business Program Coordinator. I received my Master's in Business Administration from CSU, where I focus on corporate sustainability. So got hands-on on what kind of topics matter to businesses and how to best serve their needs and help them become more sustainable. I've worked in 3 countries and I have a strong background in sustainability and business development. And I really enjoy making an impact in the community. One way I've done that, I suppose, is through the development of a board game. I have created a board game that teaches emissions reduction strategies and climate action planning. And you could be a high school student or a business owner and learn something through playing it. It teaches you not just your return on investment, but also how much emissions reduction you'll actually do by doing certain projects, and really helps educate the audience on, you know, what would actually make the biggest impact in our community by investing in certain projects. And sometimes people learn something that they didn't consider through playing that game. So how am I going to help here? I hope is main role is to provide that one-on-one coaching to businesses in our community, and by having that sustainable business program as a regional partner of the Colorado Green Business Network. So we have all the benefits of being a state program, but with that local touch to really be able to kind of coach those businesses and have somebody, you know, a friendly face that are right near them and understands their challenges that they're going through. My personal goal is to make this the best green business network program in the state of Colorado. At the minute, I've been told it's Yampa Valley currently holds the title, so we've got some work to do, but you know, that's the aim. And I'm here to help and guide those businesses in whatever resources they need to become more sustainable, help them save money, and help them reduce emissions that will help all of us in tow. And you know, raising tide raises all boats. So a little bit about the program, without further ado. So the cities have come together to launch this partnership, and it's a free and a voluntary program that will support and reward those Colorado businesses that are moving towards true operational sustainability. It's, like I mentioned, a regional partnership of the Colorado Green Business Network. So we are the same thing. So if you see anywhere around the state the Green Business Network logo on something, that is the same thing as what we're running here, but we are that local entity here to help those local businesses in Englewood and Sheridan. And as mentioned, this is a free and voluntary program, so there is no cost to the business for being part of the network. The intention is just to help them and provide them the resources that they need as well. We have a few aims of the program, so not only just collecting as many businesses in the program as possible, I mean the more the merrier, but we have technical assistance and recognition, which I'll touch on in just a moment. But also, you know, as we just heard at the beginning of this meeting, the community is so established here and so important to people. And so by having a local business community that's focused on sustainability will have tangible impacts for all the citizens of this community. And by providing consistent support that's also structured and in a way that a business can understand and follow, there's so much conflicting arguments online and fake news in the era of the digital age. You know, it's important to have somebody that can be a coach for that business and provide them, you know, what is the right thing that they should be doing so they don't get led astray. And so this is just some of the aims of this program. So I've mentioned the technical assistance and the recognition. So they're both mutually exclusive. So you can do one without doing the other, or you can pursue both. It's entirely up to whatever that business or organization wants to do. So first of all, the technical assistance, that's going to involve myself going on site and working to understand the business's goals and seeing what support that they need and identifying the opportunities for them to access, whether it's grant funding or state funding, to be able to help support sustainability goals, but also, maybe they haven't considered some type of projects, for example, that, might help them reduce costs and reduce their emissions as well. And that will be provided to them in a free report that gets delivered pretty promptly after the site visit. As mentioned, I will be there as an off-site coach. Happy to come by if they want me to stop by in person as well, and provide them those connections to workshops that they can build skills and discover other people with like minds, businesses in the program, in the community that they would never have met, and they can act as mentors for each other there as well. So that's a really great and established thing that the Colorado Green Business Network has been running for over 20 years and has found some really good benefits of having business have that access to that support. And then the recognition levels. So once they sign up for the program, they start out at that support level at the bottom of the pyramid there. And that gets you access to the technical assistance if you need it. And you get access to things like monthly newsletter. So you can kind of stay in the loop and understand what the community has going on. But if you wanted to, you can pursue bronze, silver and gold certifications. And I'll touch on what they look like in just a moment. But that's another way to kind of give back and reward those businesses that are truly going above and beyond and their sustainable commitments within the program. So why would they want to join? Why would a business want to join? Well, mainly the operational improvements coming from that technical assistance. So a big part of sustainability is being efficient. And if you're being efficient, you're saving money to a business. And that helps a business survive, especially those fledgling businesses where they're running on really tight margins. So by having that consistent improvement attitude and working with myself and within the business community, talking with each other, we'll be able to establish operational improvements to these businesses that will reduce their emissions, will improve water quality and waste reduction, and ultimately help them be rewarded through a program through gold, silver and bronze recognition levels should they want it. And then, like as I mentioned, we talked about as well this evening, is that community connection. By having the chance to connect with the community is so important for local businesses. Myself, I have a family connection that runs a small business, and it wouldn't survive without having an established community connection. Word of mouth is so key. And so, having a place where businesses who are passionate about sustainability to come together, attend our free workshops and events to help them become more educated is also a benefit too. And as mentioned, that technical assistance is free of charge. There's no fees at all ever associated with it. And you can really learn more about your own business and what the opportunities are for you to kind of grow and improve that operational efficiency over time. So, as mentioned, you have that recognition levels. And so some immediate things to get right off the bat of why you want to be recognized is what's pretty cool is you get a signed certificate from the governor who recognizes your efforts in going above and beyond sustainability for your business. We also have an annual event where we recognize these businesses in September. You can see the pictures here of some business owners getting awarded there. And that really goes down really well with business owners to kind of have that recognition. And you also get access to like a press kit. So you can see those little symbols there with the Colorado and the gold, silver and bronze. You can use that on your marketing materials. You can put it on a decal on your window. You can put it online and really just kind of get the word out that, you are a sustainable business. And there is increasing trends of consumers prioritizing sustainable products, sustainable services. So by having that certification from the state can be a real asset to a business. And then you also get access to priority permitting through the state of Colorado, letters of recommendation coming from the state of Colorado if you are silver or gold. And then you can learn from the experts at the Colorado Green Business Network. And it also has plenty of opportunities for business owners to speak at panels and share what they've done so other businesses can follow along as well. And then if you are at that silver and gold level and you really are at the peak you can access those performance assessments so we can see how well you're doing and kind of benchmark how you're doing year after year as well. And why does it matter for Englewood? Well, these are some brief kind of facts taken out of the latest greenhouse gas emissions report produced by MELF, and just kind of shows you how interconnected we all are. The energy use of these businesses, is a substantial amount of the emissions portfolio, coming up to 38% of the total emissions produced by the city. And, that natural gas and energy use figures there, you can see, that's quite high. And so hopefully through this program, we can reduce those numbers and, have businesses using more sustainable energy to provide their services and their products as well. It's a really simple process to get started in the Green Business Program. You would just register in the Green Business Tracker. That's as simple as providing your name, the business, and address, and then you can complete a welcome survey where we just get to know, the situation a little bit better, and that's all the commitment is to get started. So it's super easy, really low-hanging fruit, and it's welcoming to everybody from a big industrial company to somebody who's running a business out of the garage. Everybody is welcome. There's nobody gets turned away, sort of thing. Once you do get recognised, we have the Green Business Tracker, which is a pretty cool little website that anybody can go on, and you can search your community and see which businesses are certified around you. And again, that can actually act as a marketing material. But as a consumer, you can also search through and see, well, who is thinking sustainably where I shop or commerce in my community as well. And that's a nice little add-on from being part of the Green Business Network. Does anybody have any questions for me about the program?
I have a question.
Yeah.
What does it take to get into those upper levels of recognition?
Yeah.
In other words, I know you do the assessment at the beginning, but how do you move?
So you can not do the assessment and just pursue recognition. So there's 500 points available, and you need only 25 to be bronze, 50 for silver, and 100 for gold. And there's all sorts of ways that you can achieve points. So you can do the real hard stuff like solar panels and heat pumps, but you can do stuff like policies for your business. Like, do you have a procurement policy that prioritizes green products or sustainable source products as well, and that can earn you points? Do you have a company, sustainability values, and that can earn you points as well? And as mentioned, 25 points out of 500 is not a lot to get that bronze level. So there's a lot that can be done. LED lighting retrofits, for example, is worth a lot of points as well.
Is it conceivable you could come in at the high level?
Yes, and there are businesses that just, for example, today we just went on site visit to Tersus, and they're a clothing recycler in Englewood, and Mel was there too. They're so efficient, and it's incredible to see the work that they do. And without a shadow of doubt, I imagine they're going to achieve a lot of points if they pursue recognition.
Is there communication that's coming out of the city to recognize these businesses publicly in newsletters and things like that?
So we are currently, for the communication plan, we're working on getting the webpage up, but also because Aidan is still undergoing training with the state, we're trying to pace it out where people aren't flooding in and then Aidan can't get to them in time because he's still undergoing training. So we're trying to parse it a little bit, but yes, we definitely want to.
Is your anticipation that there will be a flooding in, or you'll need to be out there prospecting and selling your services? What's your gut level tell you? What are you in for when this thing, the deluge is coming at you, or you need to pound the pavement and spread the gospel?
Yeah, my gut feeling is that it'll be really popular. It's free, you get free recognition. Logan put it in the chat, priority permitting is such a solid carrot. You just get so much benefit for no cost.
Right.
That I think once the word of mouth gets out, people are gonna get really excited about it. We already have some site visits, but like Tersus was one, Grow and Gather obviously is gonna be one, and we have other folks lined up. So that word of mouth, and then once we start doing community engagement like social media and stuff, I think he'll be more than busy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
And then also, but on the flip side, say, heaven forbid, we are like, okay, no one's signing up. The city is so lucky to have such a strong relationship with the Chamber of Commerce. And we've already met with Lindsay, so there's engagement stuff there that we can go and talk to businesses. And yeah, there's just a lot of channels that we can touch it to, which is really nice.
Other people chime in, I don't want to steal the floor, but
Tracy?
as you were talking, I had just one idea, I just want to throw this out at you. I have some background in the restaurant business, and I just know, and probably everybody knows this, but first of all, Englewood's getting more and more restaurants, which is pretty cool. Recycling oil and grease, some restaurants do it, some restaurants don't. Food waste, there's just so much food, and a lot of restaurateurs really want to do something with it. In my imagination, that would be an opportunity if you could work with restaurants in these communities, with some of those vendors and suppliers, maybe just help the linkages connect, because a lot of these small restaurants, they don't have time to come up for air. So they don't have time to call the grease recycling company. Whereas a program like this could do some of that communication and tie it together. But that just comes to mind as you were speaking of, my Lord, the amount of composting that could be done.
I thought about that too, is that, could you have those like lomies that they make them for restaurants? And, you know, you kind of just run it at the end of the night, and, but then you're like, well, what do they do with the compost? Where are they gonna put it? You need a whole efficiency with it, but yeah, I thought of that too.
I'm excited. I think this is great. Other questions?
Yeah, I got a question. Oh, no, go ahead, Patrick.
Just a quick one. So about the point accrual and like verification, for example, for the LED lighting, is that you going to the facility and checking if they have LED lights, or is it more of a self-reporting?
So they will report themselves through like surveys within the Green Business Tracker of what they've done, and the state does the verification before giving them the certificate.
Got it. So they send someone out?
If necessary, like for example, if it seems something that seems suspicious,
Okay.
like maybe a restaurant's reporting that they put a geothermal plant in there, okay, you're gonna send someone out there to double check.
Got it.
That'd be so cool.
Where would be?
They put a what in there?
A geothermal plant, it's like in the restaurant.
Something outrageous.
Tracy did have a question in the chat, I just want to make sure I get to it. She said, so do you have to have a storefront
No,
to participate?
you can participate even if you're a work from home, you've just started your business. There's actually a case, it's not in Englewood, but there's someone who has a gold level certification and they just work out of their spare bedroom. So they've put solar panels on their house, insulation in your house, changed the faucets, and so they've done enough to get the 100 points. So they have a gold certification.
Interesting.
Do you have any idea how widespread this business network is in Colorado? Like what percentage of businesses in the state have some level of certification?
I don't know the percentage of businesses signed up, but I mean, there is a lot of regional partners. For example, Fort Collins has one, Steamboat has one, Louisville has one, Boulder has one as well. So, we're really joining in with, these communities that are, kind of leading the way, and I'm hoping that we overtake them.
But we could, correct me if I'm wrong, we could send the map for the green business map, so you can see how many
Oh,
are
yes, yeah.
certified. That wouldn't show everyone in the program, it would just be certification, but it could give a good kind of view of what it looks like.
Definitely. Yeah, and you can search on that webpage. It's literally a Green Biz Tracker. You can put it on Google. It's the first thing that comes up, and that you can search by city or whatever way you want to narrow it down.
Time-wise, do you think you'll be spending most of your time with small businesses or large ones, or?
That's a good question. To be honest, I don't know because we're just getting started. But there's no harm in anybody. I'm happy to work with any business. the state themselves have a target of having food and beverage manufacturers, because the EPA has a target as well of having them as a green business. So there's a few of those around the town, and that includes breweries, coffee roasters as well. So they would not be a priority, but they'd be a nice to have in the network, so that we can show the state that, you know, we've got some really good food and beverage manufacturers that are thinking green.
Are you approaching businesses that you think might benefit from this?
I certainly can. I haven't yet, as Mel said.
Yeah.
Just, you know, relatively new and getting training and up to speed, and I don't, you know, want to be caught off guard approaching a business owner and not having all the knowledge I need. But, you know, I anticipate, you know, doing some outreach there and sort of getting people involved.
Pursuant to Christine's comment, I think that, you know, when you look at the statistics you found, Mel, as far as where so much of the energy in this city, you know, is generated, that can be harmful, I would venture to say there's just a handful of businesses in this area that are doing most of that too. And they have to do with the fact that they're larger institutions, some of our hospitals, you know, some of the, perhaps the recycling facilities, things like that, that it would be kind of a neat hit list to say, hey, you know what, these would move the needle.
Definitely.
Something that's really helpful is that, so the state passed the Colorado Building Performance Standards, and they have a map that you can see all the buildings, commercial or commercial and, yeah, I think just commercial.
Multifamily.
Multifamily, yes. 50,000 square feet or above. So I sent that to him to being like, hey, this could be a good beginner, you know, when you get a really good training and footing of like, this is a really big building that could save a lot of money, but also a lot of energy from switching over.
This may already be in the thinking. What would be helpful to me, and I think a lot of lay people, citizens out there, is once you get up and running and you get some results, case studies would be fascinating. You know, company X, and of course the company would probably say, use our name, which would be fine, but I think that'd be a great way to teach, to say, here's, you know, just, it brings it home. You can see the concrete nature of what you're doing.
Definitely. We have a target ourselves to collect testimonials, and everybody loves a testimonial. So, and there is feedback forms that go out after the site visit, and their opportunity assessment has been sent out. And we don't just abandon them. We check in afterwards. They've had time to digest the report. They have time to come up with ideas and questions that they want, and we'll meet up with them and ensure that they understand what the information is being provided as well. And so there's plenty of touch points there to work with the business and collect a testimonial, you know, when it deals with it.
Along those lines, I was thinking of the examples that Denver's Kasser posts on LinkedIn of the small businesses that they help, and I think it's one that they gave them a small grant to do something, but they feature the small business and say, this little restaurant, we helped them get new refrigeration systems, and this one, we helped them get new takeout containers, and it's really short, like it's a case study, but it's just like this, and it makes you want to go frequent those businesses because you're like, oh, I haven't heard about that coffee shop, and all that sounds like they're doing great things.
Absolutely, and that's kind of the intention of what we want to have. You know, we want to have businesses, you know, leading the way, and the consumers, you know, voting with their money, with their dollars, and saying we want to be spending our money at green business networks. And our intention is to have as many Inglewood businesses in that program. And so people can come from other cities and prioritize spending their money here, and our businesses here.
Would you be looking at things like supply chain? And what I'm thinking of is local sourcing. So in the food industry, it's, you know, are the potatoes from Alamosa or are they from Washington State? And I mean, supply chains are just topsy-turvy right now. I mean, there's all, but to the extent that businesses could buy local, I would think that would go back into being green and sustainable. So is that an area you might touch on?
So the opportunity report is, I mean, it's about a 350-page document of every different type of scenario for a different business. And so what I can do is I can look at the business on site and talk with the business, discuss their supply chain, where are they getting their food from, for example, in this case. And then that could be something that could be recommended as an opportunity for them.
That's cool. That's cool.
I had one other thought. When I saw it there, it said site assessments. And then you were mentioning industrial or manufacturing facilities. And I wonder if the program has connected with the Industrial Assessment Center, which is run out of Colorado School of Mines.
Okay.
And what's really cool is they offer free on-site energy and water assessments for small industrial firms. And it's free because they get Department of Energy money, but they bring along engineering students to learn who are going into that field. So we're building up the next wave of workers. But it would seem like connecting the dots there would be super cool because I like free stuff.
Definitely, and that actually reminds me of the program that I was in. It's at CSU. Every summer they have, the students go join a business for the summer and help them with a sustainable project. So through the state, talking with them, if a business is over capacity and they think, okay, well, we'd love to do these sustainability projects, but we don't have anybody to do them. Well, the Impact MBA, would send a fellow for 10 weeks over the summer. And if the business can't afford to pay them, CSU has funds to pay the students as well. So again, it's a similar vein to what you're talking about and helping them achieve their goals, connecting the dots there as well. And that's just another avenue that we can connect those dots.
Yeah.
Exciting stuff. That's good.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Right, well, thank you, Aidan.
Thank you.
If we can be of any help to you at any time,
Absolutely.
don't be shy. We can spread the word, I guess.
Yes, please
And
do.
Please do, because
Yeah.
so Aidan's position is funded through the plastic bag fee funds, but we want this program to be so successful after the first and second year that city council it's like an obvious to keep this going.
Mhm.
So spreading the word is huge. And yeah, just support for it, I think, is the biggest thing right now.
Yeah,
We're gonna let Aidan go for the night. He has a long drive home.
thank you.
And I get to see you bright and early tomorrow, so.
Yeah. I may as well
Thank you very much.
Thank you
Great.
very much.
Thanks, Aidan.
Thank you.
All right, now I think it's me for the community survey review.
Take it away.
Let me pull it back up, sorry. So hopefully everyone reviewed the slides prior. There's a lot of information there and I don't want this where it's like line by line go through. So hopefully you all reviewed it. But this meeting and how this flow goes completely up to you all. If there's something you want to pull out and talk about, we can do that. If you, whatever direction you want to take is totally fine. So for a little background, the Community Sustainability Survey, this is something we did like 2 years ago with the plan. It got very little traction. I think like 8 people submitted something. But since the sustainability plan got a little bit of an update in the beginning of this year with community resilience changing to climate action and economic resilience changing to sustainable business and green workforce and just a few other changes, we thought this would be a great time to refresh the survey, ask a little bit better questions, update the goals, and just put it back out there to see what we could get. And so at the time of publishing this, we had 24. We've gotten more. I think we're up to like 35 now. Those extra 9 to 10 aren't reflected here, but I can bring them for the next one for you to review those stragglers. And I thought it was a good idea to bring it to you all just because you all really serve as this connecting liaison between local government and residents. And so this is a good way to see what other folks are saying about sustainability. And this is all done through the Englewood Engaged page. Hopefully you all saw it. And then the last thing I'll say on that piece is just that this survey never closes. We want to always keep this as an anonymous avenue for people to tell their thoughts on sustainability. So you can always recommend this to someone to take. So we asked the following questions. We asked their goals of top to least I hate using the word important for sustainability issues. They're all important, but in quotes, goals that people thought were their top to least important. What projects and programs or initiatives that the city is doing well, what we could improve on, what sustainability projects they wanted to see in their neighborhood or citywide, and then additional comments. And I went in and just did a synopsis of the comments as best as I could, but every single comment I put in there. Some were paraphrased just because it was basically like, I really love native plants, and it was like a paragraph of native plants. I just put that as native plants. So any questions before I move on to the next slide? Yes.
I was thinking that the third and the fourth bullet, you could get really similar answers, but I wonder if you could put the word existing in that third bullet, because I think that's what you're trying to get at, is what existing programs could be improved and what new programs should be added. Because otherwise someone could just give the same exact answer for both.
I love that. Perfect. Any other comments?
There's some general comments
Yeah.
about the survey.
Yeah.
So I hadn't come across it until your email with it, so I took it earlier. And it's just hard for me to like tell the difference between the different subjects because they overlap so much. So like for me, it was the ranking. I don't want to say it was like meaningless, but I guess it wasn't honestly very helpful because it's like air quality. Well, that has to do with the environment and infrastructure, as does water quality. Like it, for me, I don't know how, I don't have a suggestion to make it better. It was just very difficult to choose between the two because they overlap so much. It's like climate action. Well, everything else on the list feeds back into that. So it was like just difficult to rank.
The ones that I think are the hardest to decipher between are built environment and energy, because those I think are just like two peas in a pod.
Yeah.
So that's super helpful feedback to hear back. So I guess for a future survey, would it be kind of just omitting a ranking in general?
Well, you could put it, you would, but you could also do, I assume, I feel like I did do this, but I was the one that was going to get rid of the sustainability person. That was my comment.
Vanessa, you're out. My favorite was sustainability program is doing great. Cut the budget. I was like, thank you, but I need funding.
I also have another suggestion. Is there a way to like link through the survey, like a link to what Englewood is actually doing in terms of sustainability? Because I would guess that nobody has any idea. I mean,
Like link to the web page?
Yeah, because I mean, you know, I'm new to this committee and I read like the literature that Englewood would like sends out, but it's still hard for me to answer these questions, and I feel like I'm paying attention as much as I can. So like if there were some, link to the website, like this is what is happening, then maybe people could educate themselves.
It's definitely a pull information, like it's definitely a pull communication. Like somebody has to go seeking it, like thinking in their brain and be like, I wonder what we do, and then seek it out. I think it would be helpful to link it.
A link to the webpage, absolutely.
On your ranking, sorry, I was just gonna say on the ranking, you might be able to give like examples so that people could put that in their brain, like oh, this is what you mean by this. So.
Yeah, like a little bit more specific.
Yeah.
Not to pile on, but along these same lines.
Yeah, let me hear them.
I'll pile on a bit. There was a lot in there, and some of it was attempting to tell people what was going on. Some of it was give us your rank and order, and it was confusing of boundaries of which program. And then some of it is what I would call market research and what constructive criticism. I think the survey design could be improved drastically. And
like the platform it's on?
well, the first question you ask in research is what do we know and what do we need to know? So I would say to the city of Englewood, what do we know about sustainability in Englewood and what do we need to know? there's tons of anecdotal feedback here, ranging from sustainability is a waste of time, stop doing it, to I think pollinators, gardens are the greatest thing in the universe. The survey design, I think, no, I don't think. It needs to be more focused so that you can get usable information, because it's a suggestion box. What came in was a suggestion box, and there were a lot of good suggestions. But I couldn't tell you the majority of people in Englewood really like pollinator gardens more than they do energy conservation and building codes. So to me, there's just so much in there that it's a huge suggestion box, which means the information is hard to hang your hat on. Like what decisions can you make off of that?
The one thing I will say is that comments like these, for all surveys across the board, we get the random miscellaneous comments. So for the water efficiency plan, they had a survey and it was super specific, and we still had people that would go on huge tangents in the water efficiency plan saying, this is what's wrong with homelessness. Because people really want to inject some things, so I totally agree, but I just want you to know there's always going to be comments.
Oh, it's a challenge.
Yeah,
It's a challenge.
everyone, as soon as you say, we want your feedback, you're going to get feedback of every issue you've ever heard.
Yeah, I think good comments, Mike. Part of it also is that, and I don't know where 24 or 30 responses falls in terms of the timeline of what you've done here. But if for our committee to sort of try to glean information from these results, I think is a little misleading, because there's just not enough. And you're not really getting, what you're getting is a handful of possibly vocal people or in the know people taking this that want to put their point out. Does it represent Englewood's 36,000 people? 20, 30 comments, probably not. So we have to kind of, gauge how we as a committee approach this information.
I could not agree more. And one thing, actually, if you don't mind, I skipped to it. So this next one for the goal ranking, and Christina, I would love to hear your opinion on this. So sustainable business and green workforce is at the bottom, because I feel like folks aren't really that familiar with that. At least folks in the sustainability field that I'm familiar with, green workforce is what everyone is stressed out about right now, because we are so understaffed in our green workforce to reach our climate goals. So that's such a great example of that. Like, just because sustainable business and green workforce is at the bottom doesn't mean that that is not a priority. One of the reasons why I wanted to bring the survey to you all is, yeah, it's only 24 people, but if you talk to your neighbor, that's one person, and you would bring their suggestions here. Does that make sense? So like it's still hearing.
Like somebody would fill it out and like, well, my neighbor said this or something.
Yeah, like my neighbor, they find this important. So this is just a survey that's out there for residents to take if they want to. And this is the feedback from the 24 so far that we've gotten. And you don't have to do anything with the information, but if something sticks out to you, at least you kind of know a murmuring of like, what are some people saying? And I will say, I feel like the people that take the surveys are kind of the more engaged in following the city stuff that's happening. So it's not just like someone on the street doesn't really care about the city.
So a couple, like I have a question. So the question I have is, do you know what the goal is of the amount of people to take the survey? Like, what are you trying to hit? Because
we have the survey out there as like an open avenue for people to submit feedback on the sustainability program anonymously. If they email me, that's not truly anonymous, and if they call me, that's not really anonymous. Some people on anonymous avenue is all they want. So this is an opportunity to let them speak. And then also, like, if they flag something that maybe we didn't think of, like my biggest goal is always keeping communication open where people can give ideas.
Okay, so this isn't like get the sentiment of the public. This is more of like, hey, I want an avenue for communication.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's helpful.
But say like we had this survey out and like 300 people responded and they all said one topic. That would be super telling.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, is that it's hard to get your, what is it, the cross fabric or whatever. When you have like 24 people, it's hard to know what that cross fabric is. Like, where are they? What are we? But if you had like 300, well, I forget what the statistics, median, something along those lines.
Yeah, and 24 people definitely do not represent 36,000 people.
Yeah, I think it's just helpful that you clarified
Yeah.
what the purpose of this, because if it's just citizens who want to say something having a greater voice, like that's great because they're participating, so they should have a little bit of a greater voice, but yeah, just be very clear that it's not like a survey for the cross section of the public. I would also say that like the wording needs to be really careful because like I don't know what green workforce means. I've actually never heard that term, so I was like, does that mean like Inglewood city workers need to be green or everybody who's working, or like I didn't know what that meant.
It's a great poll.
To Mike's point earlier, one of your first questions could actually be, I have to go, sorry, bye Tracy. One of your first questions could just be like, which of these programs are you familiar with? Without, like, and which are you not?
It's almost like a pretest, okay? Find out what your people know before you ask them other questions.
So,
Now,
so I can ask you more
gauge
questions
the
about what you
question
know.
appropriately, that kind of thing.
This is a test, score 100%, make you want to pass.
I would also suggest maybe like differentiating between like residential and commercial. I guess just issues for each one of these, because when I just look at something like this, I'm kind of like, it's just kind of too much. Like, am I thinking about my personal water use, what I can do for my home? Am I thinking about city offices, businesses, or what? So maybe something that like differentiates or asks like questions, like what's more important, like, the city is being green, that houses are, that businesses are, something like that.
I think linking to the plan would have been a huge help because in the sustainability plan, it'll have the goal areas and how city council is defining each one. And so that I think would have been a huge help. And actually, since the thing is still open, I can go in there and add that little link in there.
Is it the Granicus, like the website, is it a Granicus one?
Yes.
Okay.
I want to say.
It's like, I had a survey too, they're like, how do you like this? And I was like 0%. And they're like, can you tell us why? And then when they emailed back that they didn't say who it was from, I was like, this is probably one of your things here.
Oh, that's good to know too.
That was different, not related to your survey at all, no. Just related to like Granicus building surveys.
Is there, you said these are anonymous coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Is it possible to submit it more than once?
That's a great question. It's through the Englewood Engage page. So it's through your account through Englewood Engage.
Okay, so you have to log in before.
You have to log in, but what I'm seeing is just anonymous on the side. But that's a great question. I want to say no, but I'm going to ask communications just to make sure.
Do people know it's anonymous?
It would be tough to make it if it's not, I mean, I think people do know, and I would think that it would be really tough to make it shut down if they've done it once. The only way to do that would be tracking the user that filled it in, and therefore it's not anonymous.
Or if they updated their response or something. But so it's still one response.
Oh, I get you, so that's just saving, but then, all right, anyway, you do it. That's the world I generally live in, so I was like, that's a problem I'll get used to solve. So, sorry, I cut you off, Rick.
Oh, that's right,
No.
you did. Same point.
So, can I switch the subject? I felt like looking over these comments, like the biggest things to pull out of that were comments about composting and native plants.
Yeah, I agree.
I would have never thought native plants was such a hot button.
It's so popular.
Oh, it is. It really is.
So popular.
Native plants for president 2024. What'd you say?
Suddenly it's 1970.
I don't think I get the joke.
You don't get the joke because the whole green movement started in the early 70s.
Earth Day.
Earth Day.
Oh, I didn't. I mean, no.
You're young.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I wasn't around for it.
Yeah, landscaping composting, very popular.
So it did get me thinking, and I don't want to take this whole thing on a tangent, so I'm happy to just throw it out there. Mike, you actually bring up quite a bit about kind of what's our purpose, and I think you look at this and it really becomes, to me, I look at this and you think like, hey, there is a purpose that we could take on or really kind of sink our teeth into. And it's native plants. President, no. Native plants, the hot topic. But there's also composting. And I think, you know, if you're talking about sustainability, like what can we do? Well, I think we could maybe really focus on like, how do we educate people around native plants? Why is it such an issue? Like, why are they so mad? I don't know why they're so mad about it. I'm being serious. And then composting, I think we've talked about that with Coco, you know, a couple weeks ago. Like, it would be nice to see that come into Inglewood, and we're seeing comments about that. So it would be something that we could
See, the downfall or the trap, Elizabeth, you're hitting the nail on the head, but let me play devil's advocate.
Okay.
If you look at that and you say, the natural environment is the priority in Inglewood. Okay, you got 30 people out of 36,000 people who said, we like the natural environment. And then what do you mean when you say natural environment? What I'm getting at is, if you want to make a decision, you need to be clear on what's the decision you're struggling with. If city council, for example, is saying, we want to know, do people in Inglewood get behind sustainability? Well, the first thing you got to do is say, when we say sustainability, we mean this. True confession, I don't know what Inglewood's sustainability program is. I don't see I see activities, well-intentioned efforts, and I see progress. So, I mean, that's all good, but Aidan has a program. I mean, he's got a budget, he's got a system.
Something that's like measurable, trackable, like the smart
I don't
goals.
think Inglewood has a program, and that's not a slam, that's just an observation. I think it would be a Herculean task to define Inglewood's program. And if you could do that, and I think we could help, then now you're educating and you're getting people a better understanding of why we're asking these questions. And so if there's any way this group could help you and the city hone in on what do we know, what do we need to know? It's city council saying, do people think it's a waste of money, or do they think this is great and we ought to do more of it? There's a survey tool that could help answer that question. And you know, there's ways of doing that. So I think we're going, again, our permeable, semi-permeable membranes, we're going from, the city is, and this group is going from energy, enthusiasm, positive effort to more structured focus and goals. And this is what we want to do. I don't know if the majority of people in Inglewood want to do composting. I know that the majority of 30 people do, but I don't know if, and Christine, you know, you work on building codes and electricity. If people understood better what you do, and Patrick too, if they understood that, they might say, holy cow, more bang for our buck. Let's get these buildings into code and we'll accomplish more quicker that way. So there's a huge educational component to what we're doing. And so I'm nervous about wild goose chases.
That's fair.
I'm nervous that we're gonna put pollinator gardens on the top of the list and that's the answer to every problem in Inglewood, and it's not, so.
Yeah, I would just second that again, like just defining terms is really, really important. Even what we mean by sustainability and what we mean when we're asking questions. Like, what does it mean to have better water infrastructure? Like, that should be defined, right? So people know exactly if they're voting, you know, like how they're ranking their choices. And like, I'm all for native plants, but I also think, you know, I come from the university. I don't do social science research, but a lot of my colleagues do. Obviously, like to get proper survey results, you have to be very, very careful. And there's just so many biases built in. So like with the native plants, for example, that's something that's very easy for people to understand, and it's very inexpensive. They can say, oh, the city can just change out the grass. Like that's easy. And it's aesthetically pleasing. It's just something really easy to vote for. Same with composting, like that's easy to understand. It's a lot more difficult to understand what it takes for energy efficiency, for example. So I think that I do think that the feedback is good. I think that hearing from the community is good, period. But the way the comments are set up, I don't think they actually tell us what people's
And pull out the answers that
priorities
you were
are.
looking for. It's sounding like you guys are almost leading towards changing the focus from a survey to a general feedback form. If it's a survey, it would need to be maybe a lot more detailed and carefully thought out. But if it's a general feedback form that only has those 4 questions about what do you think Inglewood's doing well, what existing programs need improved, what new program should we add, additional comments, that's essentially a structured feedback form. So maybe just reframing it as that would be the easiest thing, and then thinking longer term about what specific data points do we want in a one-time detailed, more rigorous scientific survey.
I think this survey is typically statistically driven. It's something where you're looking for specific trends, things which are numerically evaluated. I think you're right. I think a questionnaire, an information gathering tool is more of what this is right now. And typically a survey has an endpoint. You don't just keep on surveying people, because you can't really, what began at one point gets diluted by what happened at the second point, and by the third point, you have no idea where the trending went. So a survey will usually be the snapshot of where people stand on things like that.
And related to that, instead of saying, hey, anybody out there who has an opinion, please give it to us, you could target, in other words, any citizen could get an invitation. Dear Mr. Chisholm, the city of Englewood would really like your input. This doesn't go to everybody. Out of 36,000 people, you'd be surprised how small the sample could be. The sample could be 100 people, randomly selected. And we could say, please give us your thoughts. And if you don't respond, tell us, because we need 100 people to answer this survey. You would get statistically significant data, and you could make decisions off of that. I did this in the hospital sector, and we would ask questions like, have you ever heard of Trinity Lutheran Hospital? Or when you say quality, do you think heart programs are, but we had a specific question in mind because we needed to make a decision. Are we going to stop this program or build this program? We would do targeted research, telephone surveys, and you'd get consistent data, and you'd go, holy cow, they never heard of us.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of thing that I think this group could help you do, because I know, Mel, if we gave you truth serum, you know the questions you want answers to. In other words, of all the questions floating around out there, I would turn to you and say, what do you want to know? What do you really want to know? And that'd be fun. I mean, we could help you find out usable information is what I'm getting at. Because if all you're getting is the screaming memes who are resistant to change or think that sustainability is a cockamamie idea, your survey results are worthless.
Oh, see,
dangerous.
that really was only 2 negative out of the full 24, which I thought was super positive.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I know it seems like a lot because the questions get broken out into a few. So the negative ones are really 2 people just throughout the ones.
You don't even know if they're 2 people or 1.
That is true. I think it is 2 people, but you're right. You don't know who, if it's 1 person multiplying, but I thought overall it was really positive. And I personally thought it was really helpful to see one of the things that's good, kind of what we did at the last meeting, the pulse check with the Sustainability Commission. Let's go through what we're doing. What do you like? What do you not like? So you pulse check then, so you can fix whatever people don't like. So this was a good pulse check of okay, there was nothing crazy out of left field that we're not doing, which is good. Obviously there's gonna be people going back and forth of more bike lanes, less bike lanes, but that's for community development. But I thought overall it was really telling and really helpful. I do agree, I think the ranking of the goals, just not that helpful. I think it's also just really hard to rank goals anyways. So I think that I would not be sad getting rid of that. But
It would just be pick your top 3.
But even still, it just gets hard with sustainability stuff. It's so systematic. I was gonna say systematic.
Question about what, and again, I apologize, I was gonna take this and I just ran out of time.
Oh, you're fine.
Is there anything in there which says what this is being used for, or how this information will be applied? Is it something which, hey, this is coming back to blank group for blank purpose?
Yeah, we said in the e-newsletter, and I can pull it up here. We said in the e-newsletter that it goes back to me and then it gets taken to the larger group of the Sustainability Commission to review.
Okay. All right, thank you.
So that they don't feel like it just goes out into the ether.
Well, and people, that can basically affect how they answer, is what's the purpose of this? You know, is this going to council? Is this going to, you know, Parks and Rec? You know, what's the reason for your doing this kind of thing?
Okay, so just so I feel like I'm getting the feedback right, changing this from a survey to just a standing feedback form if people want to fill it out, because I completely agree a survey is more data driven. This is just kind of like a free for all. But with changing that and removing the goals, do people like having that feedback survey there? Or are we saying that feedback survey really isn't needed? What do you all think?
No, I think are you saying and as a whole, keep it or ditch it?
You know, like, are you all liking the idea of a feedback form?
Yeah.
But changing it from survey to
Yeah,
feedback.
I think that's a good idea.
I will say, and I know you can't do anything about this, but the website is so hard to navigate, it's infuriating.
Is it?
Yeah.
I can
Not you,
I can
dude.
let communications know. Is there specifically something that?
I can tell them how to do it better. I was being snarky there. I could lay it out better. It's infuriating. But, and I don't mean that, like, it's just hard. Like, where is Inglewood and Gates? Like, if you wanted to take this right now, like, I didn't know where I would navigate to.
So Englewood
You do.
Engaged is right here at the top of the sustainability page.
Yeah, but it's somewhere else too. But like, I just feel like it's hard to find. It's a hard website to navigate. That has nothing to do with what you're doing, Mel. So I should.
They're actually doing a little side comment. They're doing user labs with the website, and I can connect you with our communications team where they're connecting with residents who are like, this can be done better. And
Yeah.
they go through stuff, so I can connect you with them because they're always so open to changing stuff. They're really great.
Me too, or send it to the group.
Yeah, yeah.
It doesn't hurt to leave it up to get general comments about sustainability. So what your question was like, scrap it or keep it? It doesn't hurt to leave it up. You mentioned getting rid of the ranking, but I saw another city that did it in a different way, and they said for each of those goals, how well a job is the city doing on this? So water conservation, the city is not doing a good job, 1 all the way to 5. The city is doing an excellent job. And again, that's not scientific, but if you did a scientific one, or even if you just wanted general feedback knowing that it's not scientific, could give you a sense of, yeah, people think we're doing pretty good on this one, but people want more attention here. And that's a different way of saying importance, different than saying importance, because like you said, they're all important. That's a good suggestion.
And you could statistically evaluate it if you had a scale. You could put it into a format that allowed you to say 40% of the people feel that they don't have enough information about blank.
Okay, my other question on top of that, do you all like seeing the feedback from these feedback forms, or you're like,
Yeah, no, I want it.
I like seeing it.
You like seeing, okay. So I was like, I don't have to bring them, and people are like, this is a lot.
Sorry, Mel, in your notes, just where you're at the same subject, it's not a terrible idea to put a link here that says take our feedback form or give us feedback, or like, because you
on the
have your
website?
contact, you have your contact information, you could email me. There's a phone number, an address, whatever, but
I love
you
that.
could add something that's like over there, so then it's easier to find.
Does it also have a link to the sustainability newsletter?
So the sustainability newsletter is, you can only get through the Englewood Engaged page, but that is a great point too of saying like, sign up for our newsletter here.
And I I see on all sorts of surveys have the last question, are you on our newsletter? Or if you'd like to be, put in your email address as just as a survey
So for
question.
the survey, oh, I'm sorry, no, that totally makes sense, yes.
This might not be a helpful comment because I don't know how we solve it, but I fear that we're kind of double pigeonholing this survey because it seems like, A, you need to have an account on Englewood Engaged. So that's a very specific subsector of the community. And you have to be interested in sustainability enough that you want to take a sustainability survey. You know, I feel like we're really looking at people who are very engaged, are interested in sustainability and are vocal about it. And that's kind of what our crowd is to begin with. So are we building our own echo chamber here where we have 10 people saying, hey, I love native plants. We're like, we agree.
Yes, get us, everybody agrees with us.
Whereas in reality, is it 70% of people are like, what are native plants? Is that like the grass in my yard? You know, I just feel like we're building that echo chamber here that I fear might be kind of self-sustaining.
So that's why I also really want to highlight, like, taking this with a total grain of salt because of that. This is feedback from the community. It shouldn't be seen as a direction by any means. This is just informational. This is what people out there are saying. I will say, because we did get at least those 2 people pushing back on sustainability, I don't think it's a full echo chamber, but I think it is one. You know, I think people really amped on taking a sustainability survey, either really hate sustainability or really love it. We're kind of missing that middle ground, folks. We're like, maybe.
Well, there were some people that
That might
hate
just
the
be the
bikes
reality
too,
of it.
so it's not just the commission.
I think that might just be surveys in general.
Some ways I'm trying to go around that of just speaking to sustainability people. I've been going to the neighborhood nights and chatting with folks. That has been super successful. But if anyone has any ideas of like, you should do this, I am so all on board. Like any ways to reach people that aren't really part of the.
Mel, I feel like we're ganging up on you and we're
No,
not
not at all.
Because you're drinking from a fire hose and you're getting it from all directions.
But this is what I want, like this active
Sure.
engagement is what I want. What I don't want is to be like, what do you think? And it's crickets. That doesn't help anyone. That doesn't help the community. That's absolutely not what I want.
What do you think would happen if you just stopped it? You took it off, you just erased it for 30 days. It's gone. Do you think anybody would complain?
No, it's just an avenue for feedback. Again, it's just a touch point for feedback if people want to give it. The one thing I will say that was nice, especially as we're talking about the go bond with people not being amped on native plants. Like this is a survey where 24 people are super amped on it. So I think it can serve a purpose, but again, it's not directional by any
Right.
means.
I mean, we give you feedback.
Mhm.
I mean, our job is we're a focus group and we're engaged citizens who give a hoot about sustainability. I'm sympathetic. You're busy. You got plenty on your desk. And I'm just saying, I wouldn't do a survey for the sake of doing a survey.
Or,
If you like-
sorry,
The thing is like, send us a message, right? Like you go to a website, like send us a message and you can just put in an email and then off it goes.
Right.
That's her goal essentially is the same thing. Send me a message.
Call
But
suggestion
she's-
box.
Suggestion box.
Yeah.
So I'm new to this. Is this the only way that Englewood is getting feedback? Like about what citizens think about sustainability?
So they can contact me directly, and then there's this feedback form, but I mean, there's really no other avenues. I mean, people can reach out to their city council members, which I always recommend. That's like one of the most impactful things you can do. Because my ceiling really hits with what city council wants to do. I don't drive anything, city council drives everything. And residents drive it, then city council, then me. I'm kind of the last rung in that actually. But yeah, this is one of the only anonymous ways for people to engage.
So is it up to like us or the city council or to who to like educate people about?
That's what I was
So that's
just.
one of the biggest things for commissions is really like the city can like give out information, and then the hope is that members go out and they talk to their neighbors, they talk to their friends, and that information is dispersed. That's like one of the biggest benefits of commissions.
But we can, I think, to your point, I feel like it's your what I was saying to you is that I feel like we can say like, hey, we are gonna take this on. We need to get the communication out, but we also gotta figure out how to do it too.
Yeah.
And that's the hard, I feel like it's so hard because people live in a place and sometimes they give 0 Fs about that place. And that's sincere in saying that. They're like, this is just where my home's at and I pay taxes and I have no idea what's going on. Oh, look, a parade, right? And then some people are just involved. The hard part is like, how do you get to that? Not the 24 that took the form, filled the form, but how do you get to the hundreds of that, other, how do you get there?
There are.
Like,
what are
Go ahead.
What are some of the hopes as commissions and as residents that you would want to see the city take? Like, right, this is like one rung, but is there other ways where you're like, I would love the city to do this so I could learn about sustainability more?
I think they need to figure out how to educate and it's gotta go further, like kind of
But
in
like
your
how? Like
face.
how would you envision that beyond what the city's doing?
Well, we've got, I look at the other part of England because it looks like Oklahoma upside down with that whole corridor that goes down
I
there.
call it the crab pond, Tom.
You do? I call it Oklahoma upside down.
Brilliant.
I'll give you an example of something that I think is really cool, but maybe didn't get anywhere, was like the rain barrel workshop. That's awesome, right? That's really great, but I don't think it got enough traction because I think the only avenue was Facebook.
Well, we sold out the rain barrel.
Well, I'm
workshop.
good, I'm really glad you did that.
Yeah.
I'm being sincere.
Mm.
But if you sold it out, then you'd be like, oh, we gotta do another one. I'm not joking about that either.
With me and me alone. So that's another thing, like sometimes outreach hits a capacity of me. Now we have Aidan to cover green business, but still just need 2 cities. But it is something like maybe.
Right, but I think it's like more of in person. What can I touch? What can I feel? What can I take home with me?
So
And we have
more-
like the block party and they did not do a lot of like oh my God, what is it called? Where the people sing on the stage at the park here. The nights, the summer nights.
Sunset
Yeah, they used to do them like every Tuesday and Thursday or something like that. It was very consistent. Yeah, they just started. Anyway, my point is that that's one where you want somebody there doing something that's like, here, I have all these native plants. Look at like these beautiful plants, or like even like, here, just take these. I mean, my husband, or I don't know, I'm going off on a tangent. I just, it's hard to do. It's hard to get people to interact with you when they don't know if they even want you to. Does that make sense?
I have so many questions. It's like, we've been here for a long time, but like, I guess one of the major questions is like, how much are we trying to put forward our goals that we or the city council might have versus listening to residents?
So that's a great question, and I want to wrap up this because I know it's 8:15. So the commission and my position, we're really working in the confines of the sustainability plan that we have now. So confines of the goals and the projects. So if there's a resident that like is or the commission advocating for something that falls in that parameter, that's appropriate to bring to city council. If there's something completely out of that, that's not really our role. Our role is to advance the sustainability plan. But there is once a year, city council does updates to the plan. And that's where sustainability commission members, if residents have ideas, can come and really tweak the plan as it goes. But throughout that year period, it's really to advance plan goals.
I guess just one more thought on how do we get more people involved? I think there's like 2 components. I think one is like we're saying education, like just being a lot more clear about what all of these things mean, and like costs are like, because people want to know, like, if I do these things for sustainability, is it going to benefit me, or am I paying into some system that's just benefiting the community? Like, I don't think that everything's like very clear about what sustainability means, who's paying for it, who's benefiting from it in like a very concrete way. And then like getting information out is one thing, but then like convincing people to care, I think is a whole different thing. So I think maybe like going forward, thinking about like those 2 components, like having information is one thing, but people don't necessarily pay attention to information either. So like, I don't know, just
One thing I just thought that could be helpful is the communications team, I think, has had a lot of success with doing like mini videos about how different city things work. And I feel like a sustainability one could be really important, kind of explaining what the sustainability program does, overseeing the sustainability plan is essentially my role. So I can connect with them. I think that would be great.
How many people get the sustainability newsletter? And
The last time I checked, it was almost like 700 people.
That's fantastic.
And is it monthly, quarterly?
We do quarterly.
Okay.
And the next one I think is coming up next month. I could be wrong.
Could it have a question of the quarter that could just be specific and again, not scientific, but another way to get feedback from 700?
That's easy, because in your email, it's a button,
Mhm.
and then it's like, ting, 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 I'm done, I can do it at a stoplight. That's illegal. Do not.
I was like, Elizabeth, no.
Be done. Let's just say, if we're estimating the timeline.
One thing that I've been trying to get the city to do, and I think they're actually starting to do it, is to use alternate forms of communication besides electronic and besides social media. And that has taken the form of the inserts that you've probably seen in your utility bills. And those opportunities are great. I mean, because people will look at them, at least glance at them, and you're getting people who are not social media people to actually look at something. And it could be a place that, if you want to do a survey, that you could hit, lock in a month, talk to Chris, say, hey, Chris, we want to do a survey, and nail those scientific proponents.
And everybody gets it.
Everybody gets it.
Yep.
You can go online to it because there's a QR you can pop in,
Yep.
or you can complete it and put it back in with your bill if you want to, or something along that line, which would tap a larger network of people.
That's a really good one, because also, and I'm not just saying this to take a moment to bash our water department, but you actually have to open your bill to go see it and go pay it online. Like, there's not an auto pay or anything yet, it's coming. But it's such a great idea, because you really do have people like pigeonholed at that point that's like, take my survey. That is fantastic. That's a really great way to reach people.
That could be a future project for one of your interns or fellows or something. They could find university research about survey design. And if you do something more than just a feedback form, I think it'd be interesting to ask something about, are you aware of the following Inglewood sustainability programs or projects?
Yeah, I think that's
Are you aware of the E3 grant? Yes, no, I've used it, something like that, because I feel like that have two purposes, right? You'd find out that almost no one knows about this project that we're doing, so it needs more publicity. And you'd also educate people about it at the same time, about, oh, I didn't know you had
You're answering
an
the
E3
question. We need to know that. We need to know what is the awareness in Englewood of Englewood's sustainability efforts. That's a great example of, we need to know that. And when you ask, what do I really need to know? It's not 100 things. It's like 3 to 5. I really need to know this, this, and this. And then you can build off of that. But that's a perfect example of, I talk to my neighbors, and I would have to say 90% of them don't know about the commission, don't know about sustainability. They're not against it, but they are unaware. Now, is that good or bad? And if Mel has to operate in a community where awareness to sustainability is low, then adapt your work schedule accordingly. I mean, you work with that. And is your job to educate 90% of the population? Or is your job to work with the city and the departments and get some of your personal sustainability goals achieved? Because you're an expert. That's the other thing. The citizens are not experts in sustainability. So we need to balance their input, but don't undermine your own, don't blush behind your expertise. You studied this stuff.
Oh, I know.
No, but I'm just saying, you could assert, you and other departments in Englewood say, we do know what's good. We do know in sustainability, this is what works in communities. You don't need permission from everybody in Englewood to do a program that you know is a good program. A tree ordinance. You know we should have a tree ordinance. You don't need 100 people in Englewood to tell you need a tree. You know, there's a balance there of expertise and community input.
And a feedback survey is not for that, it's just to make sure, like a pulse check for everything, but I see where you're going. I do want to wrap up just because it's 8:20 and I don't want to scare Lana away of being like, oh my God, these are the longest meetings ever. I do have one more item, which is just city council updates. So we went to city council on June 24th or 25th with the sustainability budget. Everything seemed pretty good. They didn't really like the Angle Ride program, at least one or two of them didn't, so that might not be around for next year.
The what?
The Angle Ride program. So for a refresher, that's the employee green commute program where employees get a $1 trip, $2 a day if they take a green commute to and from work. It's not totally ixnay. They were just like, So that is TBD. We have on July 22nd, some really exciting news is that the city of Littleton is really excited in the Sustainable Business Program. They might actually hop on the program too, and then Aidan would go full-time, do some work in Littleton, and then remain the same amount of time for us, which would be awesome because we want to get him full-time. And then also on the 22nd, if folks are really interested in building electrification, we have Era Energy, our energy audit contractor, myself, and folks from Public Works going for another update to City Council where they're going to give further direction on what they want the end project to look like for the complete energy audit of all our buildings, which, yeah, should be interesting.
Great.
And then the last thing is if you all have any things that you want to discuss at the August meeting.
Well, I like Rick's suggestion of inviting somebody from Parks to, give us a fresh update on the bond issue. And we should be talking to them about sustainability components within that bond issue. Yes, we want to fix leaky pipes and we don't want to waste water at Pirates Cove. That's a no-brainer. But as you look at redoing buildings, are we moving to electrical systems, or are we using natural gas? I mean, there's other components of sustainability in that bond issue that we ought to be asking them about. And they might have already answered it, but I think there's a huge opportunity for some sustainability improvements within that bond issue, and that would be an interesting conversation.
Or won't city council have already kind of decided what they want in it? And so it would just be shaping it within what they've already decided? Aren't they slated to talk about it at the end of July?
Yeah, they're supposed to finalize what they want to have on that lawn. I think that it would be helpful for them to hear from us between now and then, because I do know that it's not a unified thing across the board, as you saw with the survey results, is that it's not, this is not lockstep. But anything that we want to contribute, love to have that sooner than the next meeting because we're pushing that deadline. But I think that if you, and it is on the website, you can go through what the bond is supposed to look like and give comment back to the city. And I would do it personally. I've talked in front of council enough, okay? Put it in an email and email all the council people, or at least your area rep, and let them know what your thoughts are.
Yep.
Let them know that you're on the sustainability committee. That's clout, and I think that you can use that.
Good point.
So that would mean for our next meeting, maybe we could learn about what they've decided and what's happening, but we won't necessarily be able to shape the broad brush of the bond issue because it will have already been decided.
But if they
I
want
think
our
so the broad brush of it is, I think that was shaped, I think, a long time ago. Meaning that they're like, okay, we know we're gonna go to this park and we're looking for native plants and we're gonna get some percentage here. And then we have to fix this thing over here that's broken in Pirates Cove. And we know we have unused areas over here at the rec center. So we're gonna do something and here's what we think we're gonna do. So it's a lot of that. But what actually happens, I think, comes after the fact. Like they have to put something like that together. So I don't think that the actual determination is made because after it gets passed, then you have citizens that are coming in that, so they can have their, window to say that they hate native plants and they do not want that. But they don't know that that's coming till the bond passes. But, so I guess what I'm getting at is that like, yeah, there's broad strokes there already, but I don't think it's not over yet. I think there's still time.
The other thing I would like to see is, and maybe this is for you, Mike, or I can do it, or is to request and perhaps implore upon Mayor Sierra to be here for that.
Yeah.
So that he can get the perspective from the council on where things stand on that, so that we get a more realistic. It's one thing to present it, it's another to get the opinion from the horse's mouth.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is the broad brush probably will be done, but there will be a heck of a lot of tweaking opportunity from that point on.
I think it's been tweaked already quite a bit too, and that's from like feedback. Like some people lost their minds at one of the neighborhood nights about native plants and parks and slides. And I think it's been tweaked since then. So I don't think that there's any, don't fear that it is set in stone and there's not opportunity. I do think there is.
Parks also might be here though, because the tree protection ordinance is going to the Parks Commission on Thursday. And so if everything goes as planned, they would come back the next meeting to put it in front of you all again. So I think Parks might be here one way or another.
Okay.
Liz, this information that you got at the Knights thing, was this something that was in a public environment such as a meeting format that is Cora accessible? In other words, you said that it seems like things had changed at that. Was that something which you said was because of a meeting that was being held or somebody held or something?
The neighborhood night, they actually, have you been to one this summer?
I'm not yet.
Okay, so they raised it up quite a bit. It was very nice. But now they have booths and like one of them was Parks and Rec presenting their idea to like the neighborhood. And so they're communicating with them directly with, this is what we're gonna do, and they're showing them the plans and stuff. And then I think the neighbors, then the people, the community started talking like, no, not this, not this. And there was like a lot of talk about it at one of those. And I think that they tweaked things based on that, although not terribly, but listened, and said, well, okay, we can do this other thing. Or maybe they even made it clear, but I'm not joking about the native plants because people are like, it's all gonna be nowhere to play, right? And they're communicating like, no, you have to understand that it's a drawing and it's not accurate. But anyway, those neighborhood nights are a wonderful, really, really good place to set up shop because they get a lot of traction. That's where it was at. So no, it wasn't, I don't know if that's a meeting.
Well, and I'm just saying, was it an official thing? In other words.
Yeah,
the
Parks
city
and
made
Rec, it was the
change.
same, the head lady from Parks and Rec I cannot remember her name. She's from
Christina?
Arizona. What is it?
Christina?
Christina, is that what it is? Yeah, she was the one there.
Okay, but she said, okay, things will change, or that she was just a good listener and,
She was a very good listener.
okay, okay.
Very good listener. No, I don't, I'm making the assumption of the change based on some of this information, knowing that it was not the same as when I saw it prior to that, and then when I saw the plan later. This is an Elizabeth assumption of that was a change.
So it sounds like we'll have maybe parks next time for August. I think something else, maybe August, but maybe September would be if DRCOG gets that CPRG grant. Sorry for the acronyms, but a huge metro-wide grant from the federal government around energy and sustainability. And if you get it, it would be good to hear what is in it. So I don't know, someone that put the application together or something.
Yeah, the person that was leading the charge was in my grad program during my cohort, and it went really well, so.
I hear they're supposed to say who got it like later in July, right? So August or September, we could hear like what's in it and what could that mean for Inglewood and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I think that'd be a great presentation.
Okay.
The summer is flying by.
Is there any other business that
Is
we
this
need to
good?
conduct here this evening? If not, then I move we adjourn. Thank you, everybody. Good meeting.
Thank you.
Everybody's input.
All right, and then I'll take this sign. Thank you.
You know, Patrick, I was gonna tell you, there's another reason that people have to sign up for Inglewood Academy. It's not,
How you been?
like, there's something that would have.
How's that kitchen going?
Yeah, yeah.